This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Strangers become your brothers. They got your six when it's back against that wall. And you will never have another who cared for you when times got rough. That's a brother who cared for you when times got tough. That's a brother.
And now, your host, Brian Basham.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Forgiven Soldier radio show. This week, got a great guest in here, Owensboro native, Mr. Cam Thompson. Cam, how you doing, man?
It's pretty good. How are you doing, man?
Good. I told you this is going to be, we just wing it. We're just going to shoot from the hip and just talk. I had to do my little radio voice at first, but
I understand
it won't last the whole time. So I was telling you before, this is the first time that I've never talked to you before.
Yeah.
So this is a new scenery for me, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna test out what I've learned in the 3 years I've been doing this.
Sounds good.
And see if we can't make a great show, which I think we will. I was hoping you were gonna bring your guitar, but
I know it. We had a show last night at Country Club, me and Calico, and I got pretty close to blowing out my voice on the last whole note, but it's all right. Well,
you got enough.
Recover.
How many songs you got out right now?
13.
13. So we have enough to cover the show. We'll just play some songs in here.
Sounds good.
And talk about them and stuff. But so let's talk about where you came from, man. Let's get the people knowing who you are, where you come from.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Originally born in Evansville, Indiana, but I don't claim that.
I wouldn't either.
But
I love
parents, I'm adopted originally. I was adopted in Evansville, and I was adopted when I was 2 days old. So my parents, I was a foster kid for them for about 8 months, and then once they got the papers and all that paperwork done, they adopted me, and they've been the best parents ever. But we moved to Owensboro when I was about 5 years old. Both my parents in the school system. So Owensboro Public Schools. Went to Sutton Elementary, and then Owensboro Middle School, Owensboro High School. So bleed Owensboro through and through. But I was a sports kid growing up. Played a lot of sports. Played football, baseball, basketball. Ran some track, and then ended up playing tennis in high school. So I played a little bit of everything, but never really wanted to get into music. My parents, knew I could sing when I was younger, but it was this thing I just didn't want to get into. Sang one thing.
Well, it's almost about putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't want to either.
Yeah, I sang one thing in a little choir show for elementary school, and I hated it because I had stage fright like crazy, and so after that I was like, yeah, this thing isn't for me. And so my parents, tried to get me to take piano lessons, guitar lessons. I just wouldn't do it. Just thought sports were a lot cooler. Yeah. But played football in high school and got injured quite a bit. It was about 2 injuries a year every year of high school. So
that's God telling you, bro, this ain't you.
But I was going to go play in college, and then my senior year I tore my thigh, tore my quad, and then messed up my ankle real bad for the third time. So I was like, this is probably the last year I need to be doing this. And then COVID rolled around, and I was like, hang, I'm bored. And I was like, I took a little bit of guitar lessons previously, but it wasn't anything where I got real frustrated with it. But I got back into it and started teaching myself some of the basics, and I was like, I could write a song, I think. And so wrote a song, and I was like, okay, this is fun. And then I was like, let's record a song. So I recorded
a song. What was the first song you ever wrote?
Kentucky Weather.
Kentucky Weather.
Yeah.
I just listened to that thing, and that thing is so true.
Yeah. I got a lot of guys coming up to me during shows and say, I relate to that Kentucky Weather song quite a bit. But yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind since then. It's kind of crazy to say it's already been 3.5 years since I started, but it's been fun.
Well, good. So one of the things that you mentioned, so you were adopted.
Yes.
When did you find out you were actually adopted? Did they wait until you're older?
No, for as long as I can remember. It was kind of like when it's funny. I look a lot like my adopted mom, and some people say like my adopted dad. So
So they didn't know you before. They went
did
through adoption. They were looking for a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I was in I can remember I was in elementary school telling my friends that I was, and none of them would believe me because they were like, "You look exactly like your mom. That's just not possible." And I was like, "Well, I am." But so yeah, as long as I can remember, they've always been real straightforward with me, and I got an adopted sister from China too. So
okay.
Yeah, me and my sister are both adopted. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
So and that's a cool story, and as a songwriter, obviously that's like low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Right, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about
yeah, I have a song about that too.
See,
my family, just how much I appreciate them and thanking God for adoption and everything. It's called A Letter To. So
okay, I'll listen to it, and we'll you want to, we'll play it on here.
Sounds
as well.
good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the little stage fright incident. Was that in elementary school, middle school?
Yeah, it was elementary school. I was I think it was probably second or third grade. Our music teacher had a certain thing. I want to say it was third grade, but whole third grade every year would sing a bunch of, older kind of folk songs and stuff. And there was 2 solo parts. There was a girl solo part and a guy solo part. And they're kind of auditioning for it in music class and everything. And I for some reason had the courage to just say, I'll try out for it. And I just tried out for it. He said, "All right, you're going to do it." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't think I was going to be, you would pick me." And so he had me do it. And then he was, begging me to get in choir after that and everything. I was like, "Mr. Harrison, I just can't do it." That scared the crap out of me. So,
so you didn't do it?
No, I didn't get into it until I was later in high school.
Yeah. But so I was in high school, and I was a troublemaker in high school. I got expelled, and we'll get into that later. But so anyways, I ended up at Breckinridge County.
Okay.
Out in the country. That's where my mom and dad was from, and my mom's like, "I'm just gonna move you back to the country," and all this stuff. So kind of changed my ways, right?
Yeah.
So I got into I was in drama school, like drama class already. I loved it, like just being somebody you're not, and all that stuff. And then they told me I was going to be in choir because it's the teacher there, Miss Tabor. She's a hard-nosed teacher, and she won't let you slide and all this stuff. So at that time, like I'd never really I would sing, but I wouldn't sing to people. And I got into choir, and it kind of opened me up a little bit. And then they had auditions, and it was singing Garth Brooks and like the showcase that the high school does every year. And I was like, I'm gonna try out for it. And I get up there, and I'm shaking, and like I grew up listening to Garth Brooks. Like that was my dude. I knew every song, and I forgot words, and I was like, what am I doing? Like just so nervous. So I was like, I'm never singing again ever. And I still to this day get nervous. But I only get nervous. Like me and my wife are worship leaders at church, so I can sing in front of hundreds of people singing about Jesus, right? It's not an issue for me. But I've me and a buddy of mine, me and Drew have written some songs, and I try to sing them out, and I get so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's a thing. Like I think the more you're out of your comfort zone, the better, stronger you become.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just getting out of that comfort zone at first.
Getting to that point. That's the thing. Yeah, that's what it took me the longest. Was I was pretty lucky because I had Andy Brasher.
I do.
He was kind. He was kind of the guy.
We're gonna have him on the show. I've been asking him for years.
Well, he needs to get on here.
I know.
But
Andy, you hear it?
Yeah, he heard it. I work for him now. I'm a bartender down at the bar, so he's
definitely gonna hear.
Yeah, I'll get him in here. But he was kind of the guy that got me into music. I was his kids went to Sutton, and my mom's the principal there.
Okay.
So I was I wrote this first song, Kentucky Weather, before I could even play guitar. So I was just kind of had lyrics and a melody.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough. My mom reached out to him, and he said, "Yeah, have Cam come over." And he was kind enough to help me put some music to it and help me put a guitar to it at least. And after that, I just kind of fell in love with songwriting. And kind of my first year, right after I released that song, he was like, "Hey, I'm playing a show downtown right in front of the convention center. Would you want to do intermission for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so. And he's like, yeah, he's just, it's just, you just 5 or 6 songs, 30 minutes, just, you'll be fine. Just, make sure you have a good set list. And the only time I've sang before that, and I'll get to that later on, was with Elliott Sublett. But, this was my first time, sitting there with the guitar, playing by myself. And, I got up there on stage, big old stage right in front of the convention center. All my friends and family are there. It was during COVID, so they had like squares that you could sit in with only 3 people in them or whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But and then they were way far away from the stage. It made it even kind of more awkward. It was like, it would be better if they were right there singing with you. But like when they're like, 50 feet away, just sitting in their chairs, kind of listening to you like this, it's like, oh man, I'm like on a pedestal right now.
Yeah.
And I was nervous as all get out. I had to go inside for a second right before I knew I was going up and kind of psych myself into it and everything. And then once I started singing, it just kind of all left me. And I sang all those songs, and people liked it. And I know, looking back at that now, I probably sounded terrible compared to what I do now. But I loved it, and it made me fall in love with music. So it's been real fun ever since then. But
that's awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. You've been listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show on 90.3 WKWZ.
John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Thank you for listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
At night, the howling wind hammers my window. I wake up in the morning and there's a rainbow. But the next day it pours and another is cold. At the end of the week it's sunny and 75. Girl, you tear me down and you come back around. The clouds roll by and I've been losing sleep. But then you make me feel like I'm in the Keys, watching the sunset with sand on my feet. If I had to explain your love for me, I'd say Kentucky weather. I'd say Kentucky weather. Girl, I can't count the times we try to call it off. And try another time to keep me hanging on. Like a sunny day that turns into hail, I try to keep ahead in the storm, but I'm going crazy. Girl, you tear me down and you come back around. The clouds roll by and I've been losing sleep. Then you make me feel like I'm in the Keys, watching the sunset with sand on my feet. If I had to explain your love for me, I'd say Kentucky weather. I'd say Kentucky weather. But I can't help myself, I wanna be with you and no one else. But I know it's not good for me, 'cause with all this madness I can barely breathe. Girl, you tear me down and you come back around. The clouds roll by and I've been losing sleep. And then you make me feel like I'm in the Keys, watching the sunset with sand on my feet. If I had to explain your love for me, I'd say Kentucky weather. It's like Kentucky weather.
Veterans Empowered Together is a nonprofit 501c3 organization made up of veterans for veterans. We want to personally invite every veteran out to our Coffee with Veterans event every second Saturday of the month. If you have questions or want to get involved, our website is www.veteransempoweredtogether.com and our number is 270-852-6518. Find all the current events on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Veterans Empowered Together.
The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere.
All right, welcome back to the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. I'm in the studio with Mr. Cam Thompson, Owensboro native. You consider yourself country singer?
Yeah.
Okay, because what I've heard is country, but it's just like anything. Like anything I sing is going to sound country. I could sing Boys to Men, it's going to be country. Country spin on it. So, is there any other genres that you like to cover other than country?
Yeah, I'm a huge. It's funny I say it at all my shows, but I'm a huge kind of classic rock junkie. My dad, when I was younger, me and my sister, we'd be riding the back of his truck, and he'd play a lot of classic rock CDs. And I tell this story before I sing Simple Man at my shows, but we'd play a lot of classic rock CDs, and he'd look back in the back of the truck and be like, "Who sings this song?" He said, "I'll give you $1, whoever wins."
Oh, he quiz
who
you.
sings this song? He quiz us.
Yeah,
and we'd never remember any of the songs because it was Dad's music. It wasn't that cool, whatever. But he'd finally, years of him doing that, I was like, this music's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was, ever since I was a teenager, I've been listening to Eagles and Leonard Skinner, ZZ Top, Dire Straits, just about any of them.
Great.
Yeah.
My dad was the same way. That's how I got into Air Supply. You ever heard of Air Supply?
Yeah.
Okay. He would listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was like, this is horrible. Play something else. And over time, it's like, this actually is pretty catchy. And then I started seeing it in Van Wilder and all these movies making fun of it. And I was like, man, this is actually really good. If I could sing like that, I would sing it. But yeah, that's, my dad was the one who got me into music. We listened to Alabama. He was a big Alabama fan, and Garth Brooks, obviously. That's where I found my love. But some of the deep cuts of Garth Brooks, not like the radio stuff, because he'd always have his cassette player.
Yeah.
And we'd be listening to Dixie Chicken from Garth Brooks. And it's like some of the, it did make it to radio stuff. And that's what I fell in love with. I was like, man, that's raw, in a club kind of atmosphere music. So when you started, so you wrote Kentucky Weather. Mm-hmm. So did you do a bunch of covers when you first started, or?
Yeah, I was doing just a ton of covers as far, old country, new country. I sing a lot of Luke Combs. Yeah. Then, I do some Alan Jackson, love Jamie Johnson, sing some of his stuff. But, and then, when I first started, I was kind of just singing whatever I wanted, but then it's so cool. You get to see how people react to each song you play. And, so I was quickly figured out that people love Tyler Childers. And so I have more of his songs probably than anybody else in my set now, because people just love his songs. And then the classic rock songs do really well. I sing Hotel California, I sing Simple Man, Wanted Dead or Alive. I sing, so I just kind of, I base a lot off the crowd too. If it's a younger crowd, I sing some new country. If it's older crowd, I sing older country. Yeah. And so it's just kind of now it's a lot easier when it was at first, because I first of all didn't know as many songs, and but it's also I'm a lot better at just seeing it, what the crowd likes, and it kind of makes it more fun. It's almost kind of like you're kind of feeling the crowd out and playing whatever they want. But I was singing mostly covers when I started. Now I fit in. I have 13 songs out on it, and I have a bunch of unreleased stuff, but I try to fit in maybe 3 or 4 songs during a 3-hour set, just because people enjoy hearing original music, but your average bar listener is wanting to hear a bunch of covers that they can sing along to and stuff. Now if you're playing down in Nashville and stuff, and there's a bunch of songwriters down there and singers and everything, they love hearing. I love hearing the original music, but they love it down there, and it's every time I go out, I like going to writers rounds and stuff down there,
Yeah.
just because it's a lot more fun to listen to, because you're hearing songs you never heard before, or you're hearing songs that you hear before and love, and you didn't know this guy wrote it. It's just a random guy at a bar.
That's the best right there.
Yeah, I had a guy. I got to remember his name. He'll come back to me later on. But it was a writers round down in Nashville. It was a place called Live Oak, and I was sitting there listening. I just went to listen. I wasn't really going out or anything. I just knew that writers round was going on that night, and it was the last round. And it was an older guy, and he said, "Yeah, I wrote this song back in 2010, and it turned out to be a pretty good hit. I hope y'all enjoy it." And he starts playing "Flyover States" by Jason Aldean, and I was like, "Oh my God!" There's people like that down there that they just write songs, and that's all they do for a living. It's pretty cool.
So I'm a big fan of songwriters,
Yeah.
right? So, and not usually, some of the times the songwriters, they don't really sing that good.
Yeah.
So when they're playing their song, you're like, oh, they're doing a cover, and then they come out and say, no, I wrote the song, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But one guy, you know who Nico Moon is?
Yeah.
So Nico Moon actually started out as a songwriter in Nashville, and he wrote a bunch of songs for Zach Brown Band.
Yeah.
And when I found him somehow, just watching him. There was a song that he released, and I was a big fan of. And he started playing all these songs, and he's like, "Yeah, I wrote this like in 21 or whatever." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Like he wrote this song?" And then I started going through his catalog.
Yeah.
And he wrote like 5 or 6 songs for Zach Brown that was on albums that were on the radio, and that's where he cut his teeth. Another guy is Mitch Rozelle.
Okay. Yeah.
You know Mitch?
Mm-hmm.
Mitch has been on the podcast, but he's wrote like 3 songs for Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
And one of them went #1, Ask Me How I Know.
Yeah.
And so it was just cool, like to get the behind the scene, like you see the main artist singing it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, he wrote, you just assume he wrote it. And then come to find out it's people like you.
Yeah.
That, write songs, and people like, other people, they just write songs. They don't want to be out in the spotlight and sing and stuff. So saying that, where do you see yourself? Like where's the pinnacle for Cam? Like, I made it.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be.
I mean, I want to take this thing as far as it goes, or as far as it wants to go. But I've told everybody from the beginning, because I had, a lot of my friends are my best supporters, besides my family, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was nervous at first, not saying I don't have really supportive friends anyway, but we mess with each other quite a bit.
For sure.
How friends are.
You wouldn't be a friend if you did.
Yeah. So, but I was nervous at first. I was like, I don't know what they'll think about this. I recorded a song without even telling them.
Yeah.
And
it's like that High School Musical moment.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Little Troy.
Yeah. But and then I was like, kind of played it for them. I was like, what do y'all think about this? And I have a pretty split friend group as far as, music taste. It's half just only listen to rap, and then the others, only listen to country. And then there's some in-betweeners, but they liked it a lot. And I was like, that's my song. And they were like, no way.
Oh, you didn't tell them?
I didn't tell them.
That's awesome.
And then they're like, dude, like you gotta start singing and stuff. Like you gotta get into it, because like they told me before that, because they've heard me sing and stuff, but there was never like being real serious.
Yeah.
And so they, right from the get go, they've been the greatest supporters I could ask for. A lot of them live in Lexington now and Bowling Green and everywhere else, but they always text me and say, hey man, how'd this show go? Hey, how'd this show go? When you're releasing this song, and then they ask, you got any new songs I can hear. So they're the best.
Now they're junkies.
Yeah,
Got any more of those songs?
Yeah. But that's the only reason I'm saying that is because I have them telling me, you're gonna make it, man. You're gonna make it, and
well, guess what? You're gonna make it. That's because of their support. You know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's where I want to be. I think it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be, like the next Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs or anything. I just want to do music, and I want to enjoy doing music. And if it comes to the point where I'm, playing stadium shows, then that'd be awesome too. So I think the day I feel like I've already made it just because I'm playing for people that enjoy my music and people are listening to my music on, YouTube and all that stuff. And it's crazy because, I released that first song not knowing what was going to happen. And now I'm here 3 years later and I'm playing, shows for, I've had, 1,000 people crowds, 2,000 people crowds, and playing at the Grand Ole Opry in March and stuff like that.
You are?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. But it's been a crazy ride. And I think to where I've made it, I'm fine with where I'm at because I'm making music for people that love my music. And if more people love my music someday and I get to, do it for a lot more people, it'd be awesome, but I'd be doing it regardless. So
awesome, man. You're listening to Cam Thompson on the Forgiven Soldier radio show on 90.3.
Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
I'm lucky to have a house to call my home, but I wouldn't have the home without your love. And every time I fall, you pick me up. I don't know what I'd do without you. A letter to my mother. You got love like no other. Proves love don't come from the same blood. And someday when you're older, I'll be your holder. 'Cause I'm the one that holds you all my love. All the lessons you taught me in my life kept me walking on the right line. You're the man I wanted to be when I got big, and the reason I'm the man that's singing you this. A letter to my father, one that made me stronger. Prove strength don't come from the same blood. And someday when you're older, I'll be your holder. 'Cause I'm the one that holds you all my love. I'm my sister's keeper, but she ain't my blood either. Still I love her more than she'll ever know. So when I become a daddy, I hope I can raise my family half as well as mine raised me. Thank God for adoption, giving them the option to give all the love to this family. To give all the love to this family. To give all the love to me.
The Forgiven Soldier radio show. Put your faith above everything, but have your family close. Online at forgivensoldier.com.
I'm up late, and this beer's starting to lose its taste. Babe, I had it made till I told you I couldn't stay. know why I left. You gave me your best, but I wasn't used to that. Now it's 8 months later and I'm stuck thinking, what if I had you back? Wouldn't be drinking Patron, calling your phone, letting myself think about what's gone, starting to cry every time I thought of you runs across my mind. Heaven knows you did your best, heaven knows that I regret every little thing that makes me hate loving you too late. Well, I'm going out again, knowing I should probably stay in, 'cause I see him with you, and I know there's nothing I can do. Now you're out on the dance floor while I ask for one more, and your eyes like mine, and all I can think about is spinning you around under these neon lights. But I'm stuck here drinking Patron all alone, letting myself think about what's gone, starting to cry every time I thought of you runs across my mind. Heaven knows you did your best, and heaven knows that I regret every little thing that makes me hate loving you too late. Oh, too late. Moving on ain't gonna be easy, 'cause I'm kicking myself, wondering if you'd even recognize these headlines if I headed your way tonight. So wouldn't be drinking Patron, calling your phone, letting myself think about what's gone, and starting to cry every time I thought of you runs across my mind. Heaven knows you did your best, and heaven knows that I regret every little thing that makes me hate loving you too late. Oh, too late.
The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show.
You say your mama warned you, falling in love with outlaws, outlaws. Well, let me tell you, baby girl, she ain't wrong. No, she ain't wrong. Yeah, I'm just gonna warn you, I'm the one she's talking about. For the past few months, let's just say I've left my mark on this town. I've been hyped up on the whiskey, and no Max has missed me, but I ain't turning back. 'Cause I got friends that raise hell and some stories to tell about a good guy gone bad. And when people ask me why I've been getting high, there's nothing to say, but women made me this way. Girl, I wasn't always known as a bad guy, the bad guy. What if I told you I was living the quiet life, not the party life? Well, those days are gone, and I'm on the run from any girl I've ever loved. But I won't cry, 'cause I'm not gonna lie, I've never had this much fun. Yeah, I've been hyped up on the whiskey, and no Max has missed me, but I ain't turning back. 'Cause I got friends that raise hell and some stories to tell about a good guy gone bad. And when people ask me why I've been getting high, I'm only getting older, and life goes way too fast. Yeah, I've been hyped up on the whiskey, and all my exes miss me, but I ain't turning back. 'Cause I got friends that raise hell and some stories to tell about a good guy gone bad. And when people ask me why I've been getting high, I just say the women made me this way. Whoa, whoa, this way.
First Corinthians 16:13 says, "Be on the alert, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong." This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
All right, we're back with Cam Thompson on the Forgiven Soldier radio show. So we talked about kind of where you came from,
Yeah.
you know, your whole life, and Owensboro native. Then we got into a little bit of the songwriting and where you see yourself. So do you have like a songwriting team, or is it just you sitting down, get a thought, and like, you know what, let's put some words to paper and see what comes
it's
out of it?
Just me. I actually finished. I won't say wrote. Finished my first two songs with another writer a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. How was that working with somebody else? A little different?
It's super different. Just because I feel like I have a little bit of a different writing style. I've had people tell me that I've tried to write with before. But wrote a couple songs with a guy that I'm really excited about down at he's down at Reverb Nation down in Nashville. But
Okay.
we wrote a couple songs, and it was different, and I will say I had a couple ideas, and he's such a good songwriter. He just like, oh yeah, I love that, ran with it, and I was like, this sounds good there, and he's like, yeah, you're right. Wrote another verse. Like we wrote two songs in less than 3 hours, and he was just pumping lyrics out. Like I was like, I don't have any problem with any of that. So
Yeah.
it was pretty easy from that standpoint. But just making sure you're getting your input and everything was another thing. But I honestly, like he wrote those songs. I was sitting there just kind of saying, hey, like this line might say better here, and he would take that advice and be like, oh yeah, you're right. And then it was easy just because how good a songwriter he was. But besides that, I've tried to write with other people. I have a few buddies down in Nashville that I've written with, and it's never gone well. I don't know if it's me or it's them or.
Well, I think when it's forced, you don't get the product.
That's the thing is like I like to write songs when it comes naturally. There's the people down in Nashville that are actually songwriters, like the people that are, and it's like they're even artists now, like Hardy and Chris Stapleton and everything. They sit in writing rooms, and they're scheduled to sit there for 4 hours, and they got to get a song out of it. And so, but I like the way that I write, just because I'll be sitting up at Rough River or something. I'll be like, I could write a song right now. And
well, and that's the thing too. And so I've been writing songs for a couple years now. And it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So
same way for me.
And we're kind of coming out with a thing, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But it's therapeutic to almost like a forced session. Like sit down, let's write down what you're feeling and what your thoughts are. And I've gotten real good of say, not so much saying, hey, I'm gonna write a song, but hey, I'm gonna write down something today.
Yeah.
And then writing it down, looking at it and be like, that could be a song.
Yeah.
And then kind of tweaking it.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I'm the same way.
I think there is something to forcing yourself to, hey, sit down, let's knock out a couple song ideas, right? And then we can come back to it kind of thing. But I'm writing a song right now for my daughter, and it's the hardest thing I've ever, because I'm like, I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But then I don't want it to be too like, what's the word? Too like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be like a touche like song, like, oh yeah, everybody says
like
that
almost
about their daughter.
scripted. Yeah.
I want it to be like authentic. And
Yeah,
like,
I understand that.
when they hear it and they see her, they're like, oh yeah, I see where you got it.
Yeah.
But, so Do you go down to Nashville and play as well, or?
I lived down in Nashville for 2 years. But I was.
Did you go to school there?
Yeah, I went to Belmont. But I went there for a year. I'm on law school now, but it's a lot easier traveling as much as I do. But yeah, I played a few times down there at a couple of different places. It's just the thing is they get 100 people that come in every single day saying, "Hey, I play music. You should listen to me." And it's just tough to get into some places down there. But and I moved down there. I'll never say I moved down there too soon because I loved living down there, and I met a lot of people that are really important in not only my music career but in my life now. So it was a blessing and a curse. I was really inexperienced, and I figured that out really fast when I moved down there. And so it was kind of, I was taken aback, not to mention the kind of culture shock moving down there with the big city coming from Owensboro and everything. But I know Owensboro's not that small, but it felt real small compared to Nashville. Yeah. But so it was, not to mention that, but also, just how many musicians were there, and not only that, but really good musicians that you just hear on a street corner that are like,
really good.
Yeah, like you sound better than half the people on radio today.
And then you look at them like, they don't want you. Why they don't want me?
Yeah.
Like, you got to find that uniqueness.
Yeah.
So what is mom's dream for you? Like, is she wanting you to finish college? And
yeah, for sure. That's been a disagreement a few times, but
for sure.
But she's like I said, my parents are my best supporters, but she'd love to see me be playing stadium shows, someday, and she'd be at every show backstage. And her and my granddad, her dad, he's been my number one fan in whatever I do since I've been, playing sports. I started when I was 4 years old. So he's 76 years old now, and he comes to every show. We'd be playing at 10:06 at 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. He'll stay for the whole show.
That's awesome.
But he'll be at those shows too if I'm, playing stadium shows one day. That's what I think deep down they'd love to see that. I don't think they don't want that. They don't, if it stays the way it is, they'll be fine with it.
Yeah, for sure.
But they love to see that.
Try getting a Bridgestone like at the front stage. It's gonna be expensive.
Yeah. But they'd love to see that someday. And my dad, I will say, out of anybody, he just loves music. And I feel bad for him because he always says, "Man, if I could sing, I'd be doing the same thing you're doing. And if I could even play guitar," he used to take lessons, and he didn't love it, but he just loves music so much that he wishes he could do it.
Yeah.
And so he's just glad that I'm doing it.
There's some out there. There's some out there he can learn and like have a part in it. That'd be amazing.
But he listens to every single genre of music I can think of, except for rap. He hates rap, but he'll be.
I'm a big fan of rap.
Yeah,
I grew up on rap.
Oh, really?
And then I was going to mention that. So you were saying like your friends, there's half your friends who like rap, half like country and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But at any given moment in anybody's life, there is something that got you to like.
Oh yeah,
the music you liked, right?
Yeah.
So it was Garth Brooks for me. Mm-hmm. Like I listened to Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and all this stuff, and it wasn't until I heard Garth Brooks, and I'm like, well, this guy's a little different.
Yeah,
like he's not like the other guys, you
right?
Know? So maybe that to your friends, it's like, yeah, I like rap until they hear you.
Yeah,
and
it might have been that way.
Man, this ain't like all the other stuff. You know? And then they become big country fans.
Yeah,
so
they I was a rap fan. I still am a little bit. I don't love the new stuff, but I'm
not a big.
My cousin, we grew up together. We call each other brothers, just because our families are so close. But his dad was a huge Eminem fan. Like every time we got in the car, we were listening to Eminem, and me and my cousin could rap every single Eminem song.
I could still rap it.
Yeah.
And then I'm 42 years old.
Yeah.
And my daughter's 13, and I put on Eminem and I rap it, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
But yeah,
it's supposed to be.
It's funny because we had polar opposites. We'd be listening to Eagles in the car with my dad, and we listen to Eminem in the car with his dad. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I actually used to fall asleep to Eagles music. I just play it and just. That was before we had TVs in the rooms and stuff like that. We weren't rich like we are now, I guess, but. we would have CD players, and I put the CD in, just fall asleep to it. I fell in love with Desperado.
Desperado is such a good song.
Favorite songs. But I also like Clint Black's version of Desperado.
Oh, yeah.
It's like more eerie sounding, and that was my karaoke favorite is the Desperado. But do you sing karaoke?
No, I stay away from it.
You'd probably slay at it.
Yeah, I've sang it maybe once or twice that I can even remember. And it once was before I even started singing music. Yeah. So I try to get people, but then it's kind of like that thing.
We should go to karaoke. You want to go to karaoke?
I mean, we could do it.
I'll take you out to karaoke. I'm gonna take all the guests out to karaoke.
Yeah, my age group doesn't do like karaoke as much either. Like when I'm going out with my friends, when we see it, like they love it. Like they'll go up there and sing 100 songs.
Just
but
like you're gonna be in my age group and you're gonna love it.
I love it. I love it no matter who I'm. But it's been a thing for me just because like I don't want to like go up there and like feel like I'm like performing. Yeah. So it's like no,
you just gotta go up there and let loose.
Yeah.
Pick a song that it's a little bit hard for you. That way, you mess up.
Yeah.
And like, oh, he's not perfect, and all that stuff. But, well, maybe when you make it big, you'll come back and do a karaoke song of your version of your song.
Oh, it'd be cool.
And just surprise people. And they're like, oh my God. So what's on the horizon? What do you have? What's a big event you're looking? Oh, Grand Ole Opry.
Grand Ole Opry.
Let's talk about that. How'd you get that?
So the ICMA is the Inspirational Country Music Association.
Okay, Steve
Bridgman? Yeah, he's a part of it. He actually, I've known him for a really long time. He worked at Owensboro Middle School when my dad was principal there.
Okay,
I was a first grader riding the bus there, and I'd see him every day in the lobby and say.
Did he sing at school?
Hey. I want to say he did. He had something to do with the music program. I know, but I was so young I can't remember. But so I've known him for a really long time, and he messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey Cam, I've been checking out your music. It sounds like you're doing a real good job and everything." And he said, "Have you heard of the ICMAs?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And he said, "I think we need to get you into a contest." And I was like, "Steve, I don't do a contest." And he was like, "We need to get you into a contest." And I was like, "All right, I'll think about it." And friend of mine now, I'm one of my really good friends now, Francine Marseille. She runs Friday After Five. She's the best lady ever. But she
shout out to Fran. I'll have her on here one time.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. But she had me playing at Friday After Five this year, and right before that, she was messaging me and saying, "Hey, like, I love your song When We Made This Way. We need to promote that a little bit." And I was like, "How so?" And she said, "I'm going to send it some people that," and then so she comes back to me and she says, "Hey, you need to do this contest." And I was like, "Is it the ICMAs?" And she was like, "Yeah, how'd you know about it?" I was like, "Steve already asked me." She was like, "Well, you need to do it. And I already signed you up." And I was like, oh, "Okay, I guess I'm doing a contest." And she, like, I don't, I'm not mad at her for pushing me to do it because it paid off.
You're at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah. But it was, we had 20 contestants. They did it in Owensboro. They're doing it in Mississippi.
Wasn't Houston one of them?
I think Houston and then I want to say the other one might have been North Carolina. I don't know, but
yeah, I believe so.
But yeah, so they
had, if we're wrong. It happened in Owensboro.
Yeah,
that's what we're about.
But five contestants that made it from Owensboro, and then 5 from the other 4, or other 3, and so then the big competition is being hosted at the Grand Ole Opry. We get to play one of our songs that we actually, the ones I was talking
submitted.
About. Yeah. So we get to play one of the songs that we've written recently, and it's gonna be crazy. I've been kind of not trying to think about it too much, just because it's like the Grand Ole Opry, and that's like the best stage you could play on as a country artist. Yeah, so it's like I don't want to be like I'm getting too excited yet because it's a far way, but it's gonna be here before I know it. But
when is it?
March of 2024. Yeah.
So is there anything in between that where you go down to Nashville for promos or anything?
Yeah, we're kind of going down, and like the couple songs I was talking about, we're writing a couple weeks ago. That was with the ICMAs, and then Corey Lee Baker's his name, but then we Corey Lee Barker, and then we we're doing that, and then went down recording those songs that we wrote with him, and doing a little bit of everything. Meeting the other states once they do their competitions. I think the last one's coming up here in a couple months, but yeah, just doing a lot of stuff with it, and I think there's a big ordeal in February that we do right before it. But yeah,
there's a Clint Campbell he got on there too, didn't he? Yeah, I've known Clint for a couple years, and he's coming out with some songs. What's the newest song he had? Beach Ball or something?
I think so. Yeah,
we're gonna have to get him on the show to talk about it. I don't know.
Clint's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude. So have you thought about doing like any music videos or anything?
Yeah, but
that's on the rage.
Yeah,
and I know a guy. I think you know a guy too. But
I've been thinking about it. I was actually thinking about doing one for Women Made Me This Way even before I released it.
Yeah,
and I did a little kind of sneak peek thing with a guy that I went to school with. His name's Miles Loxton.
Okay,
and he now does video for the UK Athletics. He's hired by them. Yeah. And so he that kind of took off for him right as we were doing that. And I was so how busy I was when how busy he was. It wasn't working out. Are you a UK fan? A huge UK fan. Yeah.
I mean, just doing it on the field out there, bro.
Yeah. Could, if he has that much pull, I don't know if he does yet. But I
might have that much pull.
Really?
I might. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Sounds good. We just actually doing some video now. We just did it on Owensboro's football field. I'm releasing a song.
I saw that. I saw that, yeah.
Releasing a song called Keeping Score. So thought it'd be cool to have a
scoreboard Stadium and
Stadium, little stomping grounds.
Okay.
But we're doing some stuff for Keeping Score, and it might turn into a music video. I don't know. It is the rage right now. People are loving music videos, and it's sometimes I think like songs that have blown up recently are because of the music video.
When I was a kid, we used to watch CMT all the time, and world premieres and the music videos, and you just sit there and I mean, I still love watching music videos because you get the whole story behind the song.
I watch them
until you watch Tyler.
Day. Oh yeah.
Anyways, we won't talk about that, but yeah, man, I appreciate you being on the show.
Anytime.
Hopefully it went well for you, man.
Yeah, really.
Hopefully get you out there and people get to know you. And what's your any last words from Cam Thompson?
Man, I just appreciate you having me on the show. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I've had a blast.
I forgot to tell you this. There's one stipulation to being on the show, though.
Okay.
When you do make it big and you sell out Bridgestone Arena, we got to be there.
Oh, for sure.
You got to reach out and be like, hey, I got your tickets.
Automatic. Gotcha.
Awesome. You've been listening to Cam Thompson on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show on 90.3 WKWC.
I felt something that I hadn't felt in so long. Yeah, I felt something, but I guess I should have known that I can't trust a girl when my heart's on the line. So why did I feel like there was something different this time? 'Cause there was something about the way you smiled that I just couldn't ignore. And there was something about that goodbye kiss that had me begging for more. And I know I shouldn't feel like this, but it seems like I don't have a choice. To hell with all the was something about the way you smiled that I just couldn't ignore. There was something about that goodbye kiss that had me begging for more. And I know I shouldn't feel like this, but it seems like I don't have a choice. To hell with all the games you play, I don't want to play anymore. Yeah, to hell with all the games you play, I don't want to play anymore. My heart won't stop keeping score. My heart won't stop, my heart won't stop keeping score.
You've been listening to My Dad on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show is a broadcast service of Veterans Empowered Together and 90.3 WKWC.